What's going on, fellas? So today I'm going to give you the power of detachment. And I'm going to show you why not only women, but also money and success will chase you when you detach and you don't chase validation. All right, guys. So I'm going to give you what detachment is. First of all, let me tell you what detachment isn't. All right, guys. Detachment is not you losing desire for the things you want in life. Detachment is not you losing your edge. Detachment is not you becoming completely cold and a zombie. And it's also not you losing your ambition for the things that you desire in life, i.e. women and money. All right, fellas? Because you can't say you don't want something and then one day you're going to wake up and you think you're going to get it. If you tell God or the universe you don't want something, trust me, you ain't going to get it, G. But if you so happen to look up in the sky and tell God, G, look, I want this, but I don't need it. So if I don't get it, I ain't tripping and I ain't stressing. 9 times out of 10, if you move like that, you're going to get it. All right, fellas. So I'm going to show you what detachment is. I'm going to show you why being needy repels and detracts women and money. And I'm going to show you how, it's the most important part, guys, how exactly to detach from women, money, and opportunities to actually attract them. What is detachment? I'll make this simple. Detachment is basically you not caring if the answer is yes or no. All right, fellas. So when it comes to money, guys, you know me. I want you to go get it. I want you to be as successful as your body, your mind, and your soul will permit. But at the same time, G, when you get too caught up in chasing money, to the point to where if you don't make a sale, if you don't get the deal, if you don't get the customer, if the client doesn't call back, then you fold and you crumble and you go into this deep, dark hole of depression. Guys, what you're saying to not only the universe, but to God as well, is that every time you don't get what you want, you fold and you back up and you retreat. All right, fellas, detachment is saying, no matter if the answer is yes, no matter if the answer is no, I'm good either way. Does this mean I don't want it? No, I want it bad. All right, guys, but I understand there's a time and a place for everything. And everything works out how it's supposed to. And if you work hard as you possibly can and you believe it with all your soul, heart, and full conviction, you're going to get it, fellas. It's inevitable. So, guys, first thing about detachment is abundance. All right, G, let me tell you something about women. All right, fellas, women are attracted to men that live in abundance. Does this mean that women are attracted to men who have a lot of women? No, not necessarily, because you can have a lot of women and still not live in abundance. All right, fellas, abundance is a mindset. You can have one woman and still live in abundance. All right, G, I'll give you an example. I know guys who have a lot of women. All right, fellas, they have a lot of women. They got a whole rotation, but they got this one girl who they got one-itis for. And if they lose her, they not even going to be able to interact with the other girls. Why? Because their whole energy going to be out the window, bro. Vibration going to go down to the floor. Why? Because he doesn't live in abundance. Even though he has a bunch of women, he still has a scarcity mindset. Same thing with money. There are men who have a lot of fucking money. I'm talking about investments, portfolios, bank accounts, all this shit, G. But they're scared to death to spend money. Why? Because they live in scarcity and lack. So they can't detach from outcomes. So every time they pull their wallet out, they thinking like, damn, what if I lose this? What if I don't make it? Is this going to be enough to last me to whatever time because something may go wrong? All right, fellas, and you will find that guys that think like that with that scarcity mindset, something actually always ends up going wrong. All right, guys, it's funny how it works. So an abundant mindset is a mindset. It's not about what you have. Because with the woman example, guys, I know men that don't have women, that don't have money, but they're good without it. All right, guys, so they live a much happier and peaceful life and they're present. This is what detachment is about. Detachment is about being present. When you're talking to a woman and you make a damn move and you approach her like I told you, but you're not present because you're attached to the outcome of her maybe saying no or rejecting you or telling you she got a boyfriend or whatever the fuck these bitches say to get you to get away. G, if you're attached to that outcome, you will not be present. She will be able to look in your eyes and tell that your mind is scattered. All right, G, but if you talk to this woman and you put it in your mind that you just going to enjoy this experience, all right, yeah, you want a number. Yeah, you want to bag her. But if she say no, you cool. And it ain't because you got a lot of women. It's because you can get another one. All right, fellas, that's the abundance mindset. All right, now let me show you what else detachment is. Detachment is also stability. All right, fellas, and this is what you show when you understand this law. When you are talking to a customer and you know that the deal is right on the edge of the line and you're about 2 seconds away from giving them the contract and you getting a yes or a no. Gee, don't you know that clients, customers, business associates, whoever you're negotiating with, gee, they can feel when you're nervous. They can feel when you lack abundance. They can feel when your ass haven't made a sale in 6 months. All right, G, because your hands are shaking. You're damn near sweating. All right, fellas, they can smell it. So, stability. I don't want to do business with a person who hasn't had a client in 6 months. Why? Because you're desperate. All right, fellas, I'm going to talk about desperation in a second. Also with women, if you are talking to a beautiful woman, this is the biggest mistake that a lot of you guys make. You meet a beautiful woman, a 9 out of 10. And she's the first 9 out of 10 that you have gotten in either your whole life or in the last 10 years. And guess what, G? She knows it. Why does she know it? Because, G, you're doing everything under the blue moon to please and impress this girl on the first date. And she can tell that you're attached to whatever response she's going to give you by the end of the date. So you pulling all the tricks out the bags. Fellas, it's the first date. Detach. You don't even know this girl. You don't know if she crazy. You don't know if she got mono, G. You don't know anything. But you diving off the deep end because you're so attached to her saying yes. Or so attached to her wanting to schedule a second date. Guys, it is more likely that this woman will want you not by you being cold. Not by you being indifferent. But by you detaching, and I'm going to write this again, fellas, and being present. All right, fellas? Let me show you a magical thing about detachment. When you are at work, I need you to be at work. When you're having fun, I need you to have fun. When you're resting, I need you to rest. So what does this mean? This means I need you guys to stop splitting your attention in 2 different ways, all right? When you hanging out with your girl, I need you to detach from everything else. All right, fellas, a lot of you guys, when you're hanging out with women, even if you get women, you got your mind on work and you can't detach from work. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. But a lot of you guys are not present with women and they can feel that scattered energy. Same thing at work. When you're at work, you don't wipe your face and you think about your kids. You think about your wife. You think about the car problems you got. You think about if you left the stove on. G, detach and be present. If you're resting, get your rest. Stop having anxiety. Stop thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow. Gee, tomorrow going to come. And what already happened today, that shit is done and it's written in stone. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Get your rest. This is how you live a quality life. This is what detachment is about. It's not about looking like a certain way in front of other people, because that's the only reason why a lot of you guys are even considering learning about detachment, because you want to look a certain way in front of somebody else. You want to go no contact and show somebody you don't care. Gee, detachment ain't an act. It's a mindset. All right? Because even if you act like you don't care, people know when you care, bro. They can tell when you're not living in abundance and you don't have stability. So last part of the what, all right, fellas, is self-worth. It's one of the biggest parts of the what, as far as what detachment is. Self-worth. Self-worth that says, if something is not serving me or is making my life bad or is a detriment to my life, to my health, to my success, to my money, to my family, to my overall well-being, I have to detach and get rid of it. Why? Because I have self-worth. I am worth detaching myself and removing things that don't align with my purpose. If you don't feel or you don't have self-worth, you will not be able to detach from things. All right. Your emotions will tell you that you need something that's not good for you. When in reality, you may think you need it, but you really don't. All right. Because it's not good for you. So self-worth, self-respect. You don't need validation when you have self-worth. You don't need to do things just to get people's attention, things that don't align with you when you have self-worth. That's the what. Now, let's get to the why. Let's talk about neediness. All right, G, why is neediness so unattractive to women? Why is chasing validation so unattractive to women? Two things, fellas. Respect. All right, guys. A woman or money cannot respect a man who cannot detach. A woman or money cannot respect a man who is so attached to outcomes and results. Gee, let me tell you a secret, guys, about relationships. And it's not just about women's intuitions, all right, fellas? But when you are with a person, guys, and that person is not good for you, or you're dating a woman, I'll be specific, and she's not good for you, and you know she's not good for you, and it's got to a point where she knows that you know she's not good for you. And it's also got to a point where she knows that you know that she knows she not good for you. Gee, when you get to that point, if you can't detach and walk away from that woman or drop that woman down in your roster, in the hierarchy in your roster, gee, if you can't make a move like that, fella, she ain't gonna respect you. All right, guys, women will stay with you even though you stay with them and they ain't shit. Will they respect you? 9 times out of 10, because they can see that you don't have self-worth and you don't respect yourself. Why? You'll deal with the woman who doesn't have your best interest or who's not good for you. All right, fellas? So, respect. It's the biggest thing. This is why you got to get rid of neediness. Guys, when you guys go out to the gym, when you guys go out to public places, to the mall, wherever you go, fellas, when you walk in the buildings, I need you to understand that you are there for you. All right, I know you're there to buy clothes. You're probably there to meet a woman, but you're there for you. So when you walk in, and if the first thing you do, you're looking around trying to see who sees you, and you're trying to catch people eye contact, and you're trying to walk in front of women, like linger in front of them like women do you at the gym, when you do that, you lose respect. All right, fellas, why? Because you're not grounded in yourself. Like I said, people can smell when you lack abundance. They can smell when you lack stability, and they can also smell when you lack self-worth. Now, another thing about the why is attraction. All right, G? When you commit to something too soon, another big problem. Some guys got a problem with detaching and letting stuff go. Some guys got a problem with committing too soon. This has a lot to do with your emotions and your self-confidence. Guys, when you know who you are and you have confidence in yourself, it's going to be 10 times harder for a woman to get your attention. All right, guys, the reason why it's so easy, and some of you guys are so easy, and I hear this from women, and women say, a lot of men today are easy. Like, you're easy, bro. You're like low-hanging fruit. Any woman, you guys don't even ask questions. You don't ask the woman where she from. Like, you know nothing about these women, and you commit to them, and these women don't share your values. They don't share your morals. They don't share your principles. They're not aligned with your purpose. All right, guys, and you commit to women, and inevitably the shit goes bad. And then what happens? You done fell so deep in that hole, you can't detach. All right, fellas, so I'm going to give you a rule of thumb. Guys, stop committing to women so early. This is the biggest mistake, because every time I talk to a guy, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time when I talk to guys that have relationship problems, it is not the actual problem that's a problem. What it usually is he committed too early and he picked the wrong woman. 9 times out of 10, that's what it usually is, bro. Because really, in a lot of cases, some of you guys don't have a frame problem. You got a selection issue. You don't know how to choose. All right, fellas? So, like I said, stop committing so easily. Because there's been many times, some of you guys have experienced this, where you had a woman who had high desire and attraction for you. And then over time, that shit faded and it withered away. Why? Because you committed too fast. You lost mystery. So understand, rule of thumb, anyway, these women should be chasing you for relationship, guys. You should not be seeking out and pursuing relationships. You should be seeking out and pursuing your purpose. Does this mean you shouldn't desire a relationship? It's not what that means. That means it shouldn't be your priority. All right, fellas, now let's get to the how, which is the most important part. How do you practice detachment in real life? Very easy, fellas. First thing, you need a mission. All right, G. I'll go back to the example if your chick want to leave you. All right, G. Y'all been together for 8 to 9 months. She wake up one day and she ain't feeling it no more. G, it'll be 10 times easier, G, guarantee you, to detach from this woman and simply let her go if you have a mission. G, if you got shit to do anyway, it's actually a blessing when women leave you. All right, guys, I guarantee you. But some of you guys, you cry, you moan, and you groan when women leave. Why? Because you ain't got nothing else to do. She was your world. Actually, she was your mission. All right, you woke up every day and dedicated your life to her. And when she left, you had nothing else. Now you have this big void. You will have no void. A woman will be an addition to your life and not the sole center purpose of it if you have a mission. Next thing is your habits. You got to get in the habit of being detached with everything you get and everything in your life. Does this mean you shouldn't love the things in your life and the people in your life? No, fellas, I'm not saying that, all right? I'm saying that if somebody want to go, if something has to leave, if you lose something, you need to make it a habit of detaching. All right, fellas, I'll give you an example. Don't cry over spilled milk, G. If you're making cereal, you pouring your cereal, right? Some of you guys pour your milk before your cereal. I used to do that shit, but now I pour my cereal before my milk. But you pouring your cereal, and then you pour your milk, and then you drop the gallon of milk, and the bowl falls, and all the cereal falls on the floor. G, 9 out of 10 men will lose their mind when that shit happen. All right, we got bigger problems in life, all right, G? We got way bigger problems. It's clown world we live in. But most guys cry over spilled milk. Gee, I want you to practice when you spill your milk, or you drop your pencil, or you get into a car accident, or somebody cuts you off, that you detach and you say, I'm good either way. It's okay. Life goes on. I guarantee you, if you keep this mindset of abundance, this mindset of stability, this mindset of self-worth, you will not attach yourself to outcomes and results, and you'll live much more freer, and you'll live much more present. So fellas, you got to understand how to detach from validation, from attention from people, from outcomes and results. Because if you do, those outcomes, those results, those people, that attention, that validation will come to you. It's how the world works. All right, G. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Share this video with a homeboy that this will help out. All right, fellas. It's your boy KD. We out here, baby.